you to everybody for joining us today. I really appreciate you joining us, for this session and investing in yourself to learn something new today. So, good morning and welcome. My name is Nazanin and I'm the Assistant Branch Manager at RBC Newcomer Specialist Team. Joining by me today, Farah Mohammed, our banking advisors. So we are Newcomer Specialist Team and we're so excited to be here today as we have a very, very interesting topic for you guys. So it's about job search, about preparing for your job search and virtual interview, as well as RBC hiring process. I know that moving to a new country is a major life-changing event. So there's so much to do, so much to learn. I was a newcomer myself and I went through so many challenges, like finding a job was one of my challenges. And I wish I could attend the webinars like today, like back in 14 years ago. So that's why actually we're here today to provide you with some tips and guidance to help you and then prepare you for your job search journey with confidence, with more confidence. So now I'm going to talk about the agenda. That's what we have for you today. We've had Keisha give us the opening from ACCES, so thank you. I'm going to go over RBC purpose and vision, and from there I'm going to talk about RBC values, and Farah going to introduce RBC Newcomer Specialist Team. And next, we're going to get into the main presentation. We have a very, very packed agenda today. So Farah and I will be presenting about job search strategies, resume tips, the interview tips, and also the importance of networking. And also I'll be talking about the RBC hiring process in case if you're interested to apply at RBC. And as Keisha mentioned, obviously at the end, so we are going to take your questions. So please feel free to enter your questions in the chat box. And also, please be advised that Farah and I, we're not from the HR recruitment team. So this is not a hiring event. So we are here to share our best practices and personal experience as we work very closely with our recruitment team. All right, so now let's get started. So let me just introduce myself more in details a little bit. So I came to Canada in 2008, and I truly believe in newcomers helping newcomers. As I said, I was newcomers myself, and I went through lots of challenges. So after completing my master's degree in finance from Ryerson, or it's better to call it Toronto Metropolitan University, as you know, the name has changed for a good cause. So I joined RBC in 2011. As a part-time client advisor role. Actually, I joined the RBC September 2011, so it's exactly 11 years now. And so from this position, from the client advisor position all the way till now as an assistant branch manager, I work in the different branches and help so many different clients and newcomers, youth, but my current role, I can tell, is probably one of my very favorite ones because it's so fulfilling, when you help the people, help the community, like youth, newcomers community, and also help clients and seeing their accomplishment and their successful journey in their life. So outside the work, I'm pretty active. I do ice skating in the winter that I learned it in Canada. So I do workout, play basketball and volleyball, like lots of sport teams because I do love socializing with people. So that was a little bit about me personally and professionally. So now before we get started, I would like to talk a little bit about RBC. And so there are two reasons for this. First, we're here because of RBC and ACCES Employment Partnership. And second, I know some of you are looking to get into the banking roles at RBC or even different workforces. So it's really important that you know and search about the company you're applying for. So that's what exactly I did before I applied for RBC, because I wanted to know if RBC's purpose and values along with mine. So as you can see here on the screen, so RBC purpose is helping clients thrive and communities prosper, and our vision is to be among the world's most trusted and successful financial institution. So RBC is one of the Canada's top employer with the best diversity employers and in the best workplace. And we have around 86,000 employees, which are all diversified, and all of the 86,000 employees are guided by one set of values. So first is client first. We always earn the right to be our client's first choice. So this means that we put clients' needs above our own to build lasting relationship, listen with empathy, understand client needs to offer the right advice and solution, and bring the best of RBC. So second is collaboration. We always win as one RBC because we are partners and we work together as one RBC. So the third one is accountability. So we take our ownership for personal and collective high performance. So diversity and inclusion inclusion, which is very, very important for us. So we stand up for diversity, for innovation and growth. So we speak up for inclusion, we empower people to grow and achieve more. And I think that's why we're such a strong and successful organization. Just like Canada, that is a very successful and very attractive country to live in because of the diversity of thoughts, experience, and people all around the world bring their own perspective, just same as RBC. And the last but not the least, integrity. So we hold ourselves to the highest standard to build trust. So that was a little bit about RBC I wanted to share with you. So now I would like to share a very quick, wonderful video that summarizes who the RBC is in, as I said, a 1-minute video. So let's watch it together. So this video is also available on YouTube. So for any reason, if you're not able to watch it today, so you can also search it on the YouTube as well. Awesome. So yes, this is RBC. As I said, the video is also available on YouTube. So I really love this video, as you just heard. So we work here at RBC. We volunteer a lot at RBC, not because we have to, because we want to make a difference. So now I would like to hand it over to my dear colleague, Farah Mohammed, to introduce herself and also talk about the IBC e-commerce specialist team. So Farah, maybe you can quickly mention about the round for kits for the upcoming one as well.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, Nazanin. And, always watching that video makes me feel so happy because it really does reflect, the place and the environment that we work in. So as mentioned, I'll introduce myself. So my name is Farah Mohammed. I am a digital banking advisor with the newcomer specialist team. So my journey with RBC started in June of 2019 as a client advisor. I mainly dealt with day-to-day transactions, balancing at the end of the day, and providing support to neighboring branches. So I enjoyed my role very much. I joined various groups and committees like digital enablement, employee giving, and diversity and inclusion, one of my personal favorites. So, as Naz mentioned, working with RBC has also given me many volunteer opportunities and a way to give back to the community. So this month, myself and Naz were both participating in the Run for Kids and hopes, to provide support to youth struggling with mental health. So it's really a wonderful opportunity. It is actually open, to everyone. So if you have a chance, please check it out. We can post it in the chat here for you guys to have a look when you're free, but definitely a wonderful thing to be a part of. Yeah, so that's a little about me. So yeah, newcomers helping newcomers. Many of us have, been in a newcomer shoe or even know someone that has. And, we see firsthand some of the challenges that one can face. And that's why we really have this team and we do what we do. So speaking of team, I'll introduce you to our very own our newcomer specialist team. So on the left here, we have Nimelin, who is our community market manager. You've already had a chance to meet Nazanin, our assistant branch manager, myself, and then we also have another colleague, Felipe, who's a digital banking advisor as well. And we're all here together. We work together as a team, as one, to really provide that support and the resources that we can provide to these organizations like ACCES to give you the information that that you need to help you succeed. So yeah, and obviously, we couldn't do this. This event would not be possible without, our community partners like Access. So we're grateful for our wonderful partnership, where we can come together and be able to provide, this valuable information today. So thank you all so much, for being here with us. Now, clearly, from this slide, you can see that things looked a little different prior to COVID being in person. Fortunately, though, because of technology we have today, we're still able to connect with the community and provide these seminars, like this one today. So thank you once again, for being here and sharing your time with us. And yeah, and I'll pass that back over to Nazanin.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Farah, for introducing our team. So we're going to get back to you shortly. So let's get to the main presentation that I know you're waiting for. And again, our goal today is to leave you with some tips and strategies to prepare you for your job search journey. Because, like finding your first job, a new job, or transitioning from school to work isn't always easy, and we all know that. But once you get your foot into the door, after that, it's going to be much easier. All right, so let's get started. So the first topic I would love to actually touch on, which is a very important topic, is how you feel comfortable with introducing yourself and be prepared for a very short bio and elevator pitch. So this is a very important thing that we wanted to talk about it. Maybe Farah, sorry that I'm gonna just put you on the spot. So let me ask you that how would you introduce yourself? Imagine that you're at a bank and speaking with the branch manager and about to ask if they are hiring.
Yeah, so definitely if I'm in the bank and I know that this is the place, that I want to work at, I'd probably say something like, hello, my name's Farah. I'm really happy I got the opportunity to meet you. I admire the work your team does here in the branch. From my previous experience, I also love helping clients, on their inquiries or solve problems. It makes me feel good knowing I can help someone. Do you have any current opportunities on your team? Maybe something similar to that. Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly what I wanted to hear from you, Farah. Thank you so much. So it's always great to be prepared for the quick elevator pitch. Like it can be like a very short bio, and then always remember that it includes three components. So it can be like as short as 30 seconds. So about who you are, so what's unique about you, and what do you have to offer, and also make sure you include a suggestion for the next step. So and then you can just, as exactly what Farah said, you can start by saying your name, or let's say if you see they have a name tag, for example, you can start with their name, like hi Farah, my name is Nazanin, and I would love the opportunity to work with you and your team at this branch. Are you hiring, or can we have like set up a coffee chat, for example? Also make sure you include the next step. So again, this is an important topic because sometimes we may have feeling that we might be rejected or not feeling comfortable with asking and introducing ourselves. But I'm sure, with more practice, it becomes easier. And always remember that the practice is a key. Awesome. So now on the next slide, I would like to talk about this 5 job search strategy and, as well as also how to rock your virtual interview. So following these simple steps goes a long way, and it will actually increase the chance of getting interviewed. So the first one is just be selective with your search. When you're applying for the job, I would say that before you send the application, it's really important to know what you want, like what you can do, and know about your uniqueness. So one of the keys to a successful job search is knowing what makes you a unique candidate and communicating this effectively with the prospective employer. So before you start applying for the job, so you should narrow down your search to the jobs that just right for you. I would say even narrow down the targeted companies, because when you looking for a job or searching for the job, so you might be tempted to send out application to anything, to anyone, all jobs. But when you're not selective, you may actually waste your time and energy by just applying lots of places, and you may not even hearing back from them. So that's why it's important to focus your job search and then position that you feel excited about it and the companies that you really want to work for. So as you probably know, there are so many job search websites like Monster, Simply Hired, Jumbo, Indeed, or you can search and apply directly through the individual company website like RBC Career website. So maybe I can ask Farah to send the RBC Career website in the chat box. So yeah, you can directly go and then apply through the chat, through the career website. So the other job search strategy that I would like to share with you is about customizing your application. So it is important to you take time to write a targeted resume and even the cover letters that, you know, like, because when you find the jobs that you want to apply for, it is important to use some of the keywords from the job posting in your resume and highlight those critical skills that the role needs, because the hiring manager will be able to immediately see why and how you are qualified for the job. And so you will have a much better chance of getting an interview with the targeted resume than if you send a generic one. So, and some of the job posting are not required the cover letter, but try to include a cover letter when you can. And I fully understand that it's not easy, write a new cover letter every time you're applying for a job. But if you can, just do it and customize your cover letter as well. And it will definitely help you market yourself a lot better. And you know, like a lot of time you cannot really write everything on your resume. So some of the things that you've missed out on your resume, so you could incorporate it into your cover letter. So invest in yourself and learn a new skills. So learn an exciting new skills, you know, related to your profession, because this can improve your resume and also your confidence. So you will learn about like new opportunities. You will also be able to enhance your own resume and show the hiring manager that personal and professional growth is really important to you. So there are so many free online courses out there. You can just sign up for free online courses and include those courses into your resume. So you can go, for example, to the Toronto Public Library. So I'm gonna just also send a quick link here. So this is also kind of the learning code learning. So you can go to the HP like free training. You can go to the, you know, sign up for free courses on the LinkedIn. So these are all, like, as I said, there are lots of places that you can just sign up for free online courses and just include them into your resume. So the fourth and fifth strategy is about your online presence. Like what does your online presence, like your social media, say about you? And and also about the importance of networking. So Farah will be covering these two job strategies, but before we get back to Farah, I would like to also talk about the resume. All right. So I'm sure you all know what is resume, and you probably all have the resume. But whether you have the resume or you are planning to make one, so there are some of the challenges that you are facing in creating or updating your resume. For example, you may not know like what to include, not knowing what format to use, not having a relevant experience, or not knowing how to highlight your skills and capabilities. So now we're just gonna discuss about the resume and what you need to include in your resume and how to highlight your transferable skills. I'm gonna talk a lot today about transferable skills because this is a very, very important topic. So what you need to include into your resume. So I would say the skills and capabilities and experiences that you've obtained from your previous jobs in the past, education, qualification, a professional email address, and any awards or accomplishment. So, and if I want to give you 5 tips for the resume, I would say that tip number 1. So try to add the keywords from the job posting, and also use the action words. You know, focus on your accomplishment and explain the outcome of your action if they were successful. So make sure, again, you include the keywords and also customize your application, customize your resume, as I said already. For example, if you're applying for the client advisor role at RBC, so leave out whatever is not relevant, and just you know, make sure you have what you can do, you can just review the job posting and make sure you include the keywords in your resume, and just keep it simple. Leave out whatever is not relevant And so if you're applying for the different roles, make sure you customize your resume, as I said. And just, be honest and never, lie or overstate something that you've never done before. And also, the last tip I would like to share with you is just proofread. Check for the spelling, for the grammar, the consistency is very important. I see some people just copy paste from internet or from others resumes, and then copy and paste in your in their resume, and they forget to make it consistent. And I see that the font is different. So these are the simple tips that you need to follow because they are really, really important. And the other thing is that so make sure, so I would say that the resume is ideally is just 1 or 2 pages, not more than 2 pages. Make sure you keep it concise and simple, because at the end of the day, the recruiter is reviewing so many resumes, and the truth is that they take, maximum 3 to 5 seconds sometimes to scan your resume. And you want to make sure, you kind of put it into 1 or maximum 2 pages, even though I know that sometimes you have so many great, experiences, but you really do not need to, make your resume more than 2 pages. And also, the other thing I would love to, recommend is that, so in your work experiences, in the bullet points, what you want to do is you want to indicate your accomplishments, not just the mandate. So because what it does is it provides insight rather than maybe kind of just listing the mandates of the role. So it's better to include also and indicate your accomplishment. Let's say if you've been recognized by something, or you've been rewarded. So this is also very, very important thing that I would like to mention it. So next, let's talk about the transferable skills. So now I would love to ask you actually if you know what is transferable skills is, or maybe I can ask any of you to enter 1 transferable skills in the chat box for me. Let's see how many answers I get. So if you know what is transferable skills, so maybe one of you or each of you can enter 1 transferable skills in the chat box for me. Okay.
All right. Don't be shy, guys. There's a lot of us on here today, so feel free to use the chat box. Like Naz mentioned, you can enter those transferable skills. And to be honest, I mean, this is a safe place here. If you're thinking of something you're not quite sure if it is a transferable skill, that's okay. This is the place where we can learn, so you can enter it in and we can, talk about it and discuss the transferable skills today.
Exactly. I can see the time management. That's a very good one. Thank you so much. So being organized, that's correct. So that's also transferable skills. All right, so thank you all for participating, for those who enter in the chat box for me. So yes, the transferable skills is something that you were good at one situation, which can be also used in another situation. So they're usually picked up over time and can be gained from, for example, your education, from work, and or even volunteer experience, or your previous job. So for example, so when you work at the retail stores, so this would require you to be patient, so have teamwork skills, the ability to connect with your clients, be able to adapt to changes. So these are all transferable skills. Or for example, when you study and also has a part-time job at the same time, so you have to have good time management, right? And organizational skills to ensure that you get all of your school work done on time while you're working or volunteering. Or like when you do public speaking or presentation, so you need to have like a communication and presentation skills. So these are all transferable skills, and a skills-focused resume emphasizing on the skills you've gained from the previous experiences. And it helps to show not only what you've done, but also what you're capable of contributing into the new role. So that's why it's really important you focus on the transferable skills. All right, so next we're gonna do a practice all together. So I just recall the tips that I just shared with you about the resume. So I want you to look at this resume. And so let's just take a look all together. This is a sample resume, and I want to ask you if anyone can tell what wasn't done well with this resume. So you can enter your answers in the chat box for me. Just Okay, perfect. The email ID, exactly. Yes, so the email is not a professional one, right? You're absolutely right, Elizabeth. Thank you. So there are more things, more errors. So just take a look, take your time, and tell me what wasn't done well with this resume. Just, remember all the 5 tips that I shared with you about the resume. Spelling error, that's correct. Yes. Spacing, exactly. That's another great one. So, like the font, the consistency, you're absolutely right. Awesome. You're absolutely right. So short forms of words, exactly. You're right. Okay, now as you can see, so you need to use a professional email address, right? So check for the spelling errors. So pay attention to the formatting and focus on the consistency. So this is a very important one. So, and also you really do not need to include your availability on your resume. Like you can definitely, if it is important, you can communicate this with the hiring manager, but you really do not need to, just include it. So in your resume, so you can also, you need to highlight your transferable skills, right? The capabilities and the accomplishment, as I said. You can include this under your summary and work experience. And also you need to like be more specific about what is like, you cannot say like you are good at what, like with technology, with something. So you can also include all of your skills under the summary of the skills on your resume. So again, just remember the 5 tips, add the keywords, use the action words, focus on your accomplishment. So, and you can make it concise and just leave out whatever is not relevant. And here on the next slide, you can see the ideal resume. So here's the ideal and corrected one. So again, it's really important to have an ideal resume. It's really important to understand how to use a keyword, understand the job description. And I'm sure that we have so many great experts at ACCES. So, and I really encourage you guys to, reach out to them. We can just have a, one-on-one probably meeting, or you also can reach out to myself or Farah. We will love to spend some time one-on-one to work on your resume together. Awesome. So now I would love to hand it over to Farah to talk about the networking, the importance of networking and how we can find jobs through the networking.
All right, thank you so much, Naz. And that resume really kind of spotted the difference, right? I think all of us are probably going to have a look at our own resumes and see now if we can spot if there's any no-nos on our own resume. Thanks so much for that activity. Yeah, so let's talk about the importance of networking. So, networking in business is one of the best resources for career development and professional success. So a good network can provide, job leads, possibilities for advancement, and opportunities for personal improvement. So actually, did you know that 85% of jobs are filled through networking? That's really an incredible number. Many of us are used to the more formal and traditional way of hiring, which is either applying through online on, a company's website, or, using LinkedIn and Indeed. But networking gives you access to the hidden or even, the informal job market. And so some of you are probably wondering or thinking, well, what really is this informal, job market? So the informal job market exists in a more hidden fashion. So this is where your networking skills really comes to life. So for example, a neighbor 2 doors down may be working at a company that you're interested in and wants and knows that one of their colleagues will be leaving, at the end of the month because maybe they're moving out of the country or for whatever reason, for example. So now there is a position that will need to be filled. That company hasn't tried to fill the job yet, but your neighbor knows you and knows that you'd be perfect for the job and that you're also looking for a job as well. So, it could be really something as simple as that. And that's really having that conversation and letting people know, right, that you are, looking for a position and, the types of positions you're looking for. And based off your relationship with them, helps to kind of push that. I know that there's an opportunity here, someone is leaving, they haven't even posted the job yet, and you're kind of getting those insights. So those networking skills can really help, boost that and give you that one step in. Um, So then your friend connects you directly to their boss, right? And this means, you're now one step closer to landing that job that you didn't even know existed. And it's really all because of that relationship that you built with your neighbor who told you that someone's going to be leaving. So you received the information, before it even became formal. So typically, many organizations prefer to have positions filled quickly, with the appropriate candidate, rather than a prolonging the process. And the benefits of this is because, they really don't want that destructive and the whole disruptive of working and for the business, and they want it to be seamless, a transition for everyone to kind of continue on the projects and everything they're working on. So if they can find someone and they're getting a referral from someone that they already like and they know that this person is trusted, it just makes it easier for that process to go along. So, really and truly, your network is with whomever you want it to be, right? Since you are the one who's building it. So your network can include your family, relatives, your teachers, counselors, mentors, and if you're working with people, just really anyone, right? Because, these are people you spend your day with. They already know what your skills are, and what your next step would be, what places you would want to move to. So if something does open up, you've already kind of shared your interests and what you want to do. So how do you grow your network and let your existing networks know that you're looking for a job? So by letting your family and friends and the people in your existing network know that you're looking for a job and what interests you the most. And when they come across this opportunity, they'll instantly think of you. So, keep in mind, this doesn't mean, because you share this information with someone, automatically they're going to say, hey, yeah, no, I have the perfect role for you. But the idea here is to kind of get that word out. And, eventually, if they do come across something or they meet someone and have a conversation with them, you will come to their mind, right? And say, you know what, I actually know someone who would be good for this position. So it's kind of really building that network and seeing, where it goes from there. So, as you probably already know, right, network plays a huge important role in your job searching. Some, if not all candidates need to go through the formal recruitment process, as Naz recently described. But if you build your connection prior to applying for the job, the employer already knows, your skills, your capability, the chances of securing an interview and eventually getting hired are much higher now. And it's all because of your networking skills that you've built. So I know networking, can seem intimidating and even stressful, to a lot of us, especially if you're now starting. So where do you start? So maybe, you haven't realized, many of us maybe on today's call probably haven't realized it, but you've actually started already networking just by being here today. Employment agencies and especially, ACCESS provides all kinds of services to help job seekers build connections and equip them with knowledge needed for job searching in Canada. Through their programs, events, and training, you can also participate in mock interviews. There's mentoring activities where you can access the industry experts and get their insights on your resume and interviewing technique. There's also a lot of times, the connections you build through these will help you connect with future job opportunities. So it's important to, to keep those connections going. Another way to build your networking is through volunteering. So volunteering not only helps you build your resume, but it helps you to understand the workplace better. You get to learn the culture, but it's also a great opportunity to build network with the host organization as well as fellow volunteers. A lot of times, a volunteer opportunity will lead to a potential connection. Volunteering is also a great way to build skills that you're not confident with or that you want to grow. So for example, maybe if you're a bit shy and you want to improve on those communication skills, you can intentionally choose to volunteer at, say, the local library at the registration desk. Where you can repeatedly practice to make, connection with people and really build on those conversation skills. What about, an informative interview? So, this is a great way to not actually have, a direct interview, but to try to find out about what that job is. So you can request an information interview with employers or even hiring managers. of the roles that you're interested in. So people are more likely to give you information, about the role because they don't feel like they have that pressure of offering a job. So, you get to know the organization, you get to know the role better, and also get some job insights. Most importantly, now you're building your network, with a person, and even, if she or she might not have the job, they'll definitely be able to connect you with someone who will, and that's how you kind of build your rapport and connection. And of course, maybe after that conversation of them having with you, they'll even recommend you as well. So even, conference, seminars, professional associations is another important channel to network. So usually such events allow you to access professionals who are already in the industry. You not only learn the industry trend, but also get to share your insights and impress potential employers. So common examples where you'll get that opportunity is at job fairs. And I know, back in the days, it was more of an in-person job fair. But since COVID, we have seen many organizations host virtual job fairs. So networking is still a way that you can make it. The people you meet at these job fairs will perhaps be the ones that can request, you can request that informational interview from, and then stay connected with them. And there's various ways, as mentioned earlier, LinkedIn is a huge platform and definitely a way to stay connected and up to date, stay connected with that individual, but also, the company that you're interested in or that organization you're interested in. You know what's happening and what trends and trends is happening with that company. Now, let's look at social media, huge part. So social media has proven to be, very powerful as well. So you never want to underestimate the power of LinkedIn. For those of you who are familiar, with LinkedIn already, that's great. Essentially, LinkedIn is a social network for the business community. So this is something that was founded in 2003. The online site is a place for professionals to connect with past and current colleagues, increase their numbers of business connections, network within the industry, discuss business ideas, search for jobs, and look for new hires. So it's really a platform for many things. Recruiters and organizations are always, posting positions on there. They're always posting hiring events, networking events. So there's many things that you can find apart from applying for jobs. Job fairs, different events that are going on. And, here you can build your connection that are of interest to you, right? You can directly message people, you can attend these events, and obviously, the world we're living in today, being virtual has helped us to attend a lot more places, than if we actually had to physically be there. But, important things really here is to keep in mind, what does your online presence say about you? So, 55% of recruiters have reconsidered a candidate based on their social media profile. So definitely something to really think about. Recruiters are responsible for finding job applicants and facilitating the hiring process. They're often the first person, who see both your resume and your interview first. So, why don't you try, Googling yourself to see what comes up. And that way you can be sure that potential employers, who will do the same, they're seeing exactly what you want them to see. It gives you the chance to go back and edit your profile and make it look presentable. It's important to think about, what it is you're sharing online and how you're communicating that. Definitely, if you're looking for a professional job, you want to make sure that you have a professional presence on, on your social media. And final tip is, networking is about making conversation with people and finding connections so they can remember you later. It's important to find out that, what you have in common with each other, chat about experiences and backgrounds and really building that connection. Network with confidence so you can make and manage authentic connections. And that's really what's going to set you apart and make you different from the other applicants. So, I hope you enjoyed some of that information I shared and it made sense. And you can really see what presence, your online presence has. So with that being said, I'll actually pass it back over to Nazanin to continue today's seminar.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Farah, for sharing lots of great tips and advice about the networking. I cannot stress enough the importance of networking because more than, as you said, more than 70% of the jobs are filled through the networking, right? So, and now about the virtual interviews. So virtual interview are also becoming increasingly popular since COVID has started. So, and I can tell that about like 75% of the hiring managers prefers like the real-time video to interview candidates. And so that's why I'm gonna just review the best practices to be successful in your next virtual interview. So first, what you need to do before the interview. So the first tip that I would love to just share with you is about just testing the technology. So, and here I would love to just share my personal experience. About 2 years ago, when I had my first virtual interview to get this job, it was through the WebEx, like the same platform that you're just joining us today. And I wasn't really familiar with the WebEx. And for the first few minutes of the interview, I was not able to connect to the audio. It was a panel interview. I had two hiring managers about to interview me, but you can imagine how stressful is that, right? So that's why I would say the minute that you agree to a virtual interview, test your technology to ensure that you are set up for the success and make sure you're familiar with the platform. It might be through the Zoom, through the WebEx. So check your internet connectivity and confirm your camera and microphone. Make sure that they're working. So, and also logging early. It's very important. Do not be late. It's always a good idea to log in 10 minutes early. So even if you have to wait in the lobby while someone admit, is okay, I would say that it's better to do that. And also keep your virtual identity professional. This is the same as the, what we discussed about having a professional email address, and also dress for success. For a virtual meeting, just dress as I know you're preparing for the in-person interview, and try to avoid any overpowering patterns or flashy accessories so as not to divert, the employer's attention from your expertise to something that would about like something that you wear. And also choose a proper background, and then try to limit the distraction, and just be ready for common questions. Prepare with the answers to the common interview questions, such as, for example, why are you interested in this role, or what you know about the company. So what are your biggest strengths or weaknesses, or what are you looking for in a new position, or why you're leaving your current role. And also practice, practice, but do not memorize. Preparation is the key, but try not to memorize things, because we don't want to sound robotic through the interview. So and then whether answering or asking questions or giving your elevator pitch, make sure you do not sound robotic. And now, so I would love to just share some of the tips during the interview. I would say the first thing is just be yourself and believe in yourself. So introduce yourself, just relax and believe in yourself. And and then I would say that one thing that is really important is to try to maintain the eye contact. I know sometimes it's not easy when you're doing a virtual interview, and also pay attention to your body language. So smile, even if you are doing the phone interview, always smile, because they can hear it, in your tone. And again, just, when being asked question, listen first and then answer. It's better to, listen first. And if you do not understand the question, it's okay to ask the interviewer to repeat the question. It's better to ask rather than, answer something that is not relevant. And also just try to watch your pace, because sometimes, we get nervous. When we get nervous, we talk fast. So it happened to all of us. It's okay. So it's just watch your pace, and, at the end of the interview, ask what is the next step, because as you can see on the next slide, as you can see here, just try to close out your interview strong. Follow up 24 hours, within 24 hours with the interviewer. So send out an individual thank you emails to everyone you met. So because not only will it show you value their time, but it also provides you the opportunity to resell yourself and, express the unique strengths that you can bring to the role, or share any talking, points that you forgot to address. And as I said, just close out interview strong. So one of the best way to leave a lasting impression is to come prepared with a question, like a relevant question, because most of the time, the final questions that the interview will ask you is that if you do have any question, and it doesn't look good, if you say, no, I do not have a question. So be prepared to ask a relevant question and a smart question. So you can ask a question about the interviewer, about let's say about the training program or something very relevant. So before we get to your questions, I also want to go over very quickly about the RBC hiring process, as you might be interested in applying for RBC. And I can tell that the recruitment process at RBC is very straightforward. So you apply directly through our website, or you can also through different job sites like Indeed, Monster, or like social media, like LinkedIn, as I said, and you can submit your application. So then you will receive a text message on your phone. So that's why it's really important to have a cell phone set up before you apply for a job, and you can include, your also your number, your cell phone number, in your resume as well. But just make sure you're set up for the cell phone, for the number before you apply. So when you receive a text message on your cell phone, so like you will receive it once you complete, the online application, and then you will be asked to answer questions. So and then your application will be pushed to the recruiter for the review. So once the recruiter reviewed your application, they will send you the mobility questionnaire, which you need to pick the market or pick the quadrant while you're answering those questions. So because RBC is looking for individuals who are able to fully mobile to all of the branches in one quadrant in GTR. So we do have 4 region or quadrants. So we have an east quadrant, we have west, we have north, and also we have south. So, and then you will have the chance to pick one quadrant. And again, it depends on your location and your profit for verbal market. It depends on if you are bilingual or speak a second language. So, and then you pick the most convenient quadrant. So once you complete that, the recruiter will schedule you for the phone interview. So the phone interview is usually, as 30 minutes to 1 hour. And then when the recruiter assesses you and based on your phone interview, and if you will be a good candidate for the job, they will profile you to the hiring manager interview. And right now, as I said, so lots of the our interview have been through the virtual format, and sometimes for the certain roles you might be invited to the panel interview. So that's optional. It really depends on the role you're applying for, because it really depends on the hiring team. Sometimes the person might reporting to a different hiring managers, and and then have collaborated with different teams, and so you might be invited to the panel interview. And then after that, if you're the best candidate, you will be given a conditional offer. So it's conditioned on that you pass the background check. So the background check usually involves the credit check, so work experience and education check, and of course your criminal background check. So, and we also will ask whether you need to provide a reference. So the references are optional, as it really depends on whether the hiring manager needs to talk to someone that you have worked with before. So you do not need to provide that references, or you do not need to include references in your resume when you apply for the job. And if needed, the hiring manager will let you know. So again, it's very straightforward. And so when you apply for RBC, so that's what happens. So that I just discussed, that's how is the recruiter process at RBC. All right. So and of course the magic is in you. And that brings us to the end of the presentation. We are ready now to take your questions. So again, feel free to enter your question in the chat box for us, and we would love to hear from you. Yeah, so we have time for your questions. I actually saw the very first question here about what are the sections that we should include in the resume at a minimum. So again, that's a very, very question. So getting back the tips that I shared with you about the resume, and if I just want to summarize it once again, that why you really need to include in your resume. So I would say that definitely you need to include your name and the contact information. So resume summary or objective. So that should be short. I would say 1 to 2 sentences that briefly explains who you are and who you are, you're qualified. So resume summary and objective are different. So you should choose to include one, or you can include both, or you can include one, depending on your background and the position you're applying for. So a resume summary will describe your work experience, while resume objective will state your short-term goals. And also you need to obviously include your education and the professional history. And the sixth item you need to include is any additional relevant accomplishment, including your volunteer work. So these are the 6 items that you need to include your resume. And I hope that I answered that question. Awesome. All right, so we have another question from Natalia. So which department in RBC is responsible for different city events? I saw RBC sponsor lots of them. I'm not sure what you mean about the city events. I don't know, maybe you can explain more about it, or you can contact me individually, and then I can just ask you more to clarify the question. But I'm not really understand what is city event. So I don't know, Farah, if you have any comments.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is maybe like they're out and about in the city and they see event happening and it's sponsored by RBC.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, those are usually kind of like individual things, you know, sometimes even our team, the newcomer specialist team, will be out on events, but it's kind of like based on maybe department or teams and what the need is for that area, or what is being trying, you know, what we're trying to accomplish. But yeah, it's wonderful to see when you're out there, your own team at an event that's sponsoring something that's very beneficial, you know, to the community. So I can see why you'd want to be a part of that.
Awesome. Perfect. So what are the good websites to apply for the jobs? Again, so there are lots of different websites. So you either can go directly to the job, like, the company's website directly. Maybe Farah, if you can just send the RBC career website once again, or you can even apply for the job through the LinkedIn. I see lots of like a job posting to the LinkedIn, or you can just go through the job search website, like Indeed is one of them, or for example, what are there's like the Job Boom. So, but again, you can also directly go through the RBC. If you apply for the RBC, you can go directly to the RBC website or any company job site directly. Okay, so another great question here about, so I wanted to know how will you and ACCES Employment help us financially if we want to do banking courses like FX, for example? That's a very good question. So for some of the roles, you do not need to get your, have being like the mutual fund license. For example, if you're applying for the client advisor role, you do not need to get your designation. But let's say if you are already within the organization, let's say if you are already a CA with RBC and then you want to get promoted to the banking advisor, and if you are already within the organization and if you get your designation, let's say if you want to apply for the banking advisor, which is required. So after you take the course and you pass your exam, so the bank will reverse the fee for you, but you need to be within the organization. But I'm not sure about the ACCES. Maybe Keisha can answer that question later on, or you can ask Keisha later on how the ACCES financially can help you. But again, depends on the role you're applying for. So even though if you are interested in applying for the banking advisor role and you still do not have your designation, so you can apply, because applying for the banking advisor role, even you do not have that license, you still can apply. Definitely, if you already got that designation, so that's going to be a huge asset. But even though without that, you still can apply for the banking advisor role. And if you are a qualified candidate, so the bank will give you time, let's say 4 to 6 months, to get that certification. Awesome. I see lots of great questions here. So maybe we can address, before we wrap up, we can address another one. So is it good to include the link or our LinkedIn profile in the resume? Yeah, you can do that, definitely. Definitely you can do that. But even though if you don't, mostly the hiring manager will check it out.
Yeah, it definitely makes it easier for them. But then like we talked about too, you want to make sure that if you're including that, that once they go on there, they are seeing something that is professional, right? Because that social media impact there will they'll have a look at.
Exactly. And again, so one thing that you should not really include in your resume is your photo, because that's a big, no. But the LinkedIn, you can do that. But I would say that, yeah, as Farah said, make sure it's updated, make sure it looks professional, make sure your picture and the LinkedIn also professional. So I see another great question about having or not having a Canadian experience. I know most of you are newcomers or you're not here yet. And this is a very common question we always get from the newcomers, that let's say when you apply, if you do not have a work in another bank, or if you do not have any banking or even Canadian experience, so do I have a chance to get a job in Canada? And the answer is that you do not really have to have a Canadian experience. Especially when you're just new to the country, or just graduate, for example, from a school, because what the banks are looking for are more about the transferable skills, as I just discussed it with you. And and of course, if you had a previous banking experience even in your home country, or if you have a experience here, that's going to be asset, but it's not about having a Canadian experience. That's definitely is not about that. Or like, even though if you have like a customer service experience, for example, if you worked at McDonald's or even Walmart, that's also going to be a huge asset for you. But definitely you do not need to have a Canadian experience, because it's all about your interpersonal skills, like the ability that you build or make a good connection with the clients, right? So that's how you can be a good candidate without having a Canadian experience. Awesome. So I hope that I answered that question. So now, before we wrap it up, so I would love to hand it over to Keisha, but we also, Farah and I will be sharing our contact information. So just feel free to reach out to us. So you can reach out to us, you can email us, and we can set up some one-on-one, the appointment, like a coffee chat, virtual appointment through the WebEx. But when you reach out, or if you email us, please give us some times, that we definitely get back to you.
Mhm.
Okay, Keisha, so that takes us to the end of the presentation, and I would love to hand